If I'm being honest, sometimes I'm reluctant to talk about movies dealing with HIV or AIDS because in the past I've gotten comments from viewers and some of them have been very passionate, emotional, or even angry. Sometimes they'll get angry at things I said, I misspoke in a certain way. And I just want to say that I'm on your side. And please know that if I say something in the wrong way or I said something incorrectly, just please respectfully write a comment in addressing that. Because I think ultimately it is important to talk about films like this, not just for my own personal education about what happened to the gay community, but for somebody else who might be interested in watching a movie and learning about it. And the film I'm going to discuss is very potent in this subject matter. It's not a miserable movie, but it is a very emotional and powerful film. This is 1985, directed by Yin Tan. It's a very simple story about a man who's going home to Texas for the holidays to visit his family, and we get a feeling that he's there for a deeper reason. This is a type of movie that you can't really spoil, and it's more of a movie that you can experience. So I'm not going to be giving away, obviously, the ending, but if there's anything I've learned in watching movies is that you should definitely revisit movies from your past, even if you liked them, and especially if you didn't like them, because when you live a little bit more life, you might go back to a movie you didn't like and really love it. And this is what happened with this movie. The first time I watched it, I thought it was a good movie, but it didn't impact me as powerfully as it did with this recent rewatch. I think it's maybe because I learned a lot more about this topic, and maybe it's a little bit more life lived, who knows, but this movie really did affect me in a much deeper way. If you didn't know this was about HIV or AIDS or even a gay man, you would be really confused until the later half of the film, because it's the type of movie you gotta really read in between the lines about what's actually going on. And you get that sense right away, at least I did, from this really good dinner scene that happens early on. It almost feels like the character is walking on eggshells talking to his family, and his family has a very religious background. And in this particular scene, they use the word roommate to refer to the people he lives with. And any gay person probably has experienced that at one point or another, where a family member or friend cannot bring it to them to say boyfriend, so they have to say roommate or friend. And I mean, my mind always goes to that Alanis Morissette song that she goes, friend with benefit. He can't really speak openly to his family about what he's going through. And that's really the entire film, is him dealing with that and dealing with how much he should tell his family and what he should hold back. Really accurate, really good writing. And it's a film that could be really just emotionally manipulating, but I think it does a really good job in balancing not being a total manipulation fest. Film is shot in beautiful 16mm black and white film, and this was such a brilliant choice because it immediately sends you back to a nostalgic vintage feeling. Like, it feels like a forgotten film of that era, that it actually came out during that era. There's something about the look of it that immediately feels like a vintage thing, like a memory almost. And the black and white also helps evoke that feeling that we're seeing somebody's memory. And the use of the camera is really effective here, especially in private conversations that happen with the mother character played by Virginia Madsen, also the father character. And you could see that because she's much more loving, it's done in these conventional shots with medium close-ups. And then with the father, things are a lot more distant. And so what the director and the cinematographer do is they shoot it in this very big wide shot with a slow push in. It's just a brilliant way to use the camera to say things without saying it. It almost feels like the camera is kind of just gliding along like a ghost, observing this forgotten memory. Now, I also want to say, in dealing with this topic of HIV and AIDS, it's not a common way that they handle this topic, because sometimes in other films or things I've seen in the past dealing with this topic, they deal with it directly, like they talk about the technical things, or it's about the advocates dealing with trying to overcome this virus, or the technical things that the virus does to a person. But this film takes a page out of like a parting glances, because we're not so much dealing with the topic directly, but about the people's lives that this thing is affecting. It's way more effective to deal with a topic in that way because we get to see the people behind it. And there's this quote by Roger Ebert that has always stuck with me, and I think he was reviewing the film Terms of Endearment, and he was trying to figure out the reason we get sad and cry in films. And he, I think, nailed it perfectly when he said, it's not when we see things that are actually sad happen in a movie, but it's when we see people being good and showing kindness. And I think that's always been the common denominator when a movie has really just emotionally affected me, is that we just see somebody who's just trying to live their life and trying to be kind and trying to just do the right thing, and this horrible thing is happening to them. And that's what really is the emotional gravity in this film. I hope sometime to talk about other films that deal with this topic. I know sometimes comments have said I should check out a movie called Long Time Companion, and I know that that will be also an emotional journey. But sometimes, like I said, it's difficult to talk about topics like this, but I do think that it's important when we do.